This console generation has been very different than the previous ones because Microsoft is attempting an extremely bold tactic. Like, if you actually consider the idea of Xbox versus PlayStation, right now, Sony is doing the safe bet. They're just telling you to buy a PlayStation. And in that way, Sony is constantly cranking out big exclusives that are polished and high rated and selling a bunch. I mean, think about the fact that the games like Spider-Man, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo, even random third-party stuff is just completely blowing up on Sony's platform. Whereas Xbox, they tried to do something a bit different with two completely sets of different hardware, the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series X, both being decent pieces of tech. But over the course of the last couple months, a lot of game developers are coming forward and straight up saying that it is incredibly difficult to make games for the Xbox Series S. That as much as they're getting this powerful piece of hardware with the Series X and the PlayStation 5 and current PCs, when you're making stuff for the Series S, you gotta do some very drastic measures to get the games to even run halfway decent. But today, I want to take a look at their statements and some speculation about this ongoing problem. Are you ready? Here we go. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. So, it's pretty obvious that Xbox is in a very strange spot. This is actually just from this week. Xbox admits that the Xbox itself is just not selling. In general, Microsoft is having a problem where everybody loves Game Pass. I love Game Pass. You love Game Pass. If you have Game Pass for PC or Game Pass for console, it's a very good deal. But if you're actually trying to get people to buy a Series X or a Series S, they've been having issues, and game developers have sort of been saying the fact that it seems like there is something that's difficult about this hardware. Baldurs Gate is supposed to be coming out here tomorrow on PC. It's coming out in exactly 1 month on PlayStation 5, and the hype for this game is insane. I mean, honestly, this game is probably 1,000 hours long. It's got 12,000 endings, 80 different classes. I mean, the game seems like it's going to be utterly massive, but they have straight up said that they're having a lot of trouble even getting the game to run on the Xbox Series S. And the issue is that Microsoft requires it actually run. Microsoft requires that if you're going to release a game on Xbox Series X, it has to run on Series S, the downgraded micro version of the console that's digital only. And they said the team is working out some huge technical hurdles. Now, people have been upset about the fact that a lot of game developers are coming forward to discuss the difficulties of Xbox game development. I mean, Xbox is still a great place to game. There's still a lot of stuff that you can get. I mean, I keep saying this, but really, if you have an Xbox, there's a 99% chance you have Game Pass, and you're happy with the games you're getting, even if they don't look great or run great. I mean, it's still an easy way to play big games. Like Starfield, I'm not particularly excited for Starfield, but it's undeniable that playing it on Game Pass is going to be a very good deal. But here's the tweet that sort of stirred up a lot of conversation this morning. This is one of the lead communication directors over at Remedy, obviously working on Alan Wake 2. I feel Larian's pain on the Series S. So this is actually the people that are making Baldur's Gate, and he says this: the Xbox Series S is not just about optimizing at the end. LOL. Nah, you have to take into account the technical limitations from the very beginning of development. Nobody wants to think of that when you start making your game, when everything is possible. Now, a lot of game developers have talked about this idea that when you're making something, it really does come down to the limits of your imagination. How big of a world? How many players? How much storyline? How much time do we have? How much budget do we have to make the most impossibly magnificent game possible? So it's weird when it's like, all right, if we make this for PlayStation 5, we got to make one version for one powerful system. Whereas if we make it for Xbox, it has to run on the incredibly beefy Xbox Series X. And additionally, the limited version for the Xbox Series S. Now, the Series S is not the weakest thing ever, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. It's just that it's weaker and it makes your job harder. I mean, the fact that multiple people are coming forward and saying, hey, this is rough. Like, people are, you can see a lot of Xbox people very mad in the comments. Unless the game looks like Avatar the movie, I don't want to hear any excuses. They're likely running into memory and processing issues on the Series S. I've played Baldurs Gate on Steam over the last year, and I can say the amount of content in this game is huge, and the full release will likely double that of early access. A lot of people are basically talking about the fact that the Xbox Series X was a bold strategy. The idea of making a cheaper, more affordable, budget next-gen console, that's actually kind of genius on paper. I don't think anybody expected it would have this many technical limitations in the long run. The reality of the Xbox Series S was obvious from the beginning. I'm still incredulous how certain developers were treated for telling the truth near console launch, though it is funny how some tweets from id employees disappeared weeks later after Microsoft acquired Bethesda. Well, this is a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but they're basically making it sound like that anybody that works as Microsoft is maybe contractually not allowed to talk about the limitations of the Xbox Series S. Okay, so a lot of people down here just kind of hating on it in general. A lot of people saying it sucks. Does this mean the PlayStation 5 will be held back because of the PlayStation 5 Pro experience? This is fake outrage. Now, I don't like the idea of that either. The truth is somewhere in the middle. I don't think these people are lying. There's no way that this guy would actually come out and make a statement if he was just doing it for the lulz. Clearly, this guy is actually running into problems. But let's go over to Michael here. Legacy Killa HD. I feel like every couple days, another game developer comes out with a statement that issues they're having with the Xbox Series X. I really do feel like it's holding back this generation. Remedy Communications Director. We actually even saw this a couple days ago because literally every week somebody comes forward and says they're having problems. We had this recently with Quantum Error. It's like a horror first-person shooter coming soon. They have been very clear of the technical limitations, that the fact that the game is going to run better, look better, play better on the PlayStation 5. And they're saying it's not that we're prioritizing that development necessarily. It's just the fact that it's a different kit. It's a different console. It's a different experience you're going to get. It's not like it's broken on Xbox, it's just better on PlayStation. Now, the last tweet I wanted to look at here is one that I found that has no likes on it, but I feel like it actually sums up the interestingness of the Xbox Series X kerfuffle. Pros, it is definitely the cheapest console. It is $300 for an Xbox Series S, whereas a Series X is $500. A PlayStation 4 with a disk drive is $500. A disk driveless, a digital-only PlayStation 5 is $400. A lot of people, I think, love the idea of the Xbox Series S because it is a great entry to next-gen gaming. It's just the fact that the cons, you cannot deny developers are having issues with it. It seems simply having the Series S version at a lower FPS and resolution isn't achievable in every case. I can't imagine Xbox ever agreeing to a game coming to the Series X only. This is the weirdness. If you're making a game for Xbox, you're stuck with it. If you want to actually release a game on Game Pass for consoles, it has to run good on the Series S and the Series X. And that's just a weird circumstance. Honestly, I just feel bad for these developers because imagine you're trying to make the biggest, most glorious, most amazing game possible, and you have high-end tech and low-end tech. This is the final thing I wanted to look at because I think it's interesting, and it says, hey, aren't you making this game for PC? Doesn't that scale? Take my word for it. PC builds just scale differently. It just isn't as easy as X and S for multiple reasons. I'm really oversimplifying it though. It's interesting that they're basically saying this is not just a graphics problem. It's not just a load time problem. It's not just a little issue. This is a deep-seated technical issue from the ground up. But how is that going to get solved? I guess we're going to find out. I guess I'm just curious to see about this because I do have an Xbox Series X. I do love my Xbox Series S. I feel like I'm playing more and more on my Series X because it is just such a good console. I think the future of Xbox looks bright, but the technical drawbacks, I mean, they're undeniable. What do you guys think about this, though? Are you excited about the future of Xbox? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you could, please give this video a like and keep dreaming. I finished this video right as my camera says it's at 1% battery. I am a gamer. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.